It's time we got our coffee. Oh, does that mean we're yapping on this episode? Yes, it does. So, welcome back to my little video journal that I like to do in my car. Typically in the Lowe's parking lot. There's always very vibes here. I had an interesting phone call recently with one of my young brothers, and he's getting into playing music, and I was like, perfect, I know things about this. I'm a musician. Haha. But he told me that he was struggling with the idea that he wants to be able to play an instrument while being able to also sing at the same time, which is, funnily enough, something I never thought about too deeply recently. And it was something that I remember the struggle very well for. Like, I remember wanting that so bad, being able to do that. And it just, now that I can just do it naturally after so much practice, it's just kind of strange to think about. Obviously, the first thing and the most obvious thing comes down to is pure practice, really, at the end of the day. If you go to the gym and, you really want to be able to do like 100 push-ups where you do like that fancy clapping thing, and the crowd from the side is cheering you on as you do it, the first thing you do, obviously, is not just go straight into it. You do your very best to do your first push-up you've done in like 10 years. And then if you're not jumping and clapping in like the next 5 minutes, then you give up. It's like, no, obviously. And so while ChatGPT could tell you that, I think for me, there was one just kind of like mindset key change that I think comes with being able to like play and sing at the same time. Because some people are just naturally born performers or whatever, but some people want to do it, and it's a little bit strange, a little bit embarrassing. And it's the idea that your fear of looking foolish, like your fear of looking like you'll look silly while doing it, is holding you back from being able to play music and sing at the same time. And it's funny because I think this kind of actually applies to like a lot of things in life. If there's something you really want to do, and you spend, all of your energy and focus on like, what if I just look silly? What if I just look dumb? What if I just look like I don't know what I'm doing? When it comes to general life, a lot of people, like, despite really wanting to do something, they just won't because of whatever fear of looking like a certain way or however they'll be perceived. It just kind of just stops them cold. And so I think if you want to be able to play music while singing at the same time, I think usually when you have that approach, it means that you're less performer oriented, right? Because I think a lot of singers, if you're just primarily a singer, I think usually on average you're more geared towards like you like the attention or whatever, the crowd, the performance, like on stage or in front of an audience, whatever type of aspect of it. But for someone who's like approaching it from like, I'd like to sing to the song while playing it, like I like the musicality of it, I think you're more oriented towards like, you like the structure, you like the creation process, you like being able to write, I think, a little bit more than the actual performance part of it, which is where I came from. And for me, it was like, it was almost like I didn't want to do it when I got into like singing and stuff. It just kind of rolled out that way naturally, I think, because when I was very young, also around the same age as my brother, high school status, I just was like a guitarist, and I really enjoyed playing the guitar. I was a little bit shy about playing it. Like I even got embarrassed just bringing the guitar to school. Like, great, here comes Wonderwall. He's come to show off and stuff. But internally I was like, no, I just like playing the guitar. I promise. I just want to learn how to write music with the taste that I was developing. There were musicians on campus, but they were more interested in like just learning other people's songs or just in a different style that didn't really gel with me. So eventually it was like, oh shoot, okay, well I got to learn how to, I would like lyrics and stuff. Like I like writing lyrics. So eventually it's like, okay, well I guess I got to learn how to sing also. And then it kept going. Eventually it was like, okay, well, I really want my songs to be available somewhere, like in a recorded form. So now let me learn how to record. And then through that desire was like, well, let me learn how to compose a song and like properly structure things and everything. That leap from like the guitar man, like I just play the guitar, to like I also play and sing, was like if I put myself in that mindset, it was just like a super big head scratcher. And it was like to the point of like almost like crying out of frustration, because I mean, I had barely, like, I think when that had happened, I'd only been playing guitar for a few years. So it was like kind of starting from scratch all over again, which is a real, I think, like, it's a real demotivator in a sense, because it's like, man, I thought I had made like a ton of progress and I was like a pretty good standing with this stuff. And so when you start something new, right, you kind of like you have to like go back to square zero for this other thing. It was kind of like, oh, damn it, I guess I'm not that good. Combine that with the fact that, like, okay, now you're the singer also. So now there is a little bit of like, oh shit, this is kind of like a performance now, you know, like this is like, you're learning to do this because, you know, you have something that you'd like to present to the world. If you can't do that at least, then, you know, I would maybe like consider that, okay, maybe this art form isn't for you, because it is a little bit like, you do have to put yourself out there to a certain extent and just be ready for feedback. So when you learn to sing and you learn to play guitar or the piano or whatever type of instrument, now you're introducing this whole like oh damn, okay, like there's a little bit more at stake here almost. And I think besides practice, this is where people get frozen up, because now it's like, all right, like I really want this, but you know, now that I'm barely starting this, not only do I not have enough practice to be good at it, now there's a whole other layer of like just vulnerability that I have to work at. How do you overcome that? You have to let go of the idea that you looking foolish, you looking like silly, whatever type of way, to whoever you imagine in your head, because it's probably on your head anyways, is holding you back from getting what you want. And yes, of course, this does apply to being able to play music and sing, but I think it does really apply to a lot of stuff in this life. And a lot of people like will stop themselves from good opportunities and just like a good way forward because they're just so afraid of other people's opinions. When I was learning to play and sing, the way I overcame it was, besides practicing, I would just bring my guitar and I would be prepared to just write songs about the dumbest things that you can imagine. I'd sit down with my friend, which, by the way, having people there with you along the way, also a huge help. And we would write songs about the most nonsense thing you could think of. Like we'd see a pigeon chilling on a bench and it was like, perfect, bust out your phone recorder and here's these basic chords and stuff that I learned from learning other songs. And now we're writing a song about, you know, this fat pigeon on the bench. Sometimes it would be just like a lot of fucking cussing and stuff during the songs. Because, I mean, 17 years old, you're immature, right? So sometimes it would be like songs with cute imagery about like, oh, like look at this lovely Goodyear blimp up in the sky. Just like beautiful, like cute imagery to like, look at that guy over there. I don't like his shoes. You just sit down and write these like basically like ridiculous Tenacious D almost like songs. And we focused solely on having a good time, because I think too, like specifically for music, if you're not having a good time, it's like that's kind of what you want. Like there's no point in pursuing this otherwise. It dissolved like the feeling of like I can't do this because of technical ability, because of stage fright, and it was just solely focused on having fun rather than like what will, you know, the people walking around us as we were writing these songs think, what will, you know, everyone that can hear us while we were out there just singing terribly, whether it was our own songs or sometimes we would cover other people's songs that we liked and stuff, and then just not care, you know, focus solely on having fun. Did we look ridiculous? Probably. Did it sound terrible? I guarantee it. But through doing that over and over and over again, it was like, hey, this isn't so bad. Even if someone told us to be quiet or something, you know, we figured like, oh, we'll just dip to another spot. And where that can apply to life also, it's just like, okay, I declined this job opportunity because I was too stubborn, or like I didn't want to look like I'm giving up on my dream or whatever, because now I'm, doing this gig to cover the bills, or I'm afraid of tackling problems and bad habits that I have about myself, because I'm afraid that everyone's just going to bring up this time when I was being dumb, or that time when I was acting weird, or just whatever, right? But so I'll just not address it and stay the same and never grow. Your fear of looking foolish is a humongous thing that holds you back. And whether it's you're learning to play and sing an instrument, or maybe just even learn an instrument for the first time, pursue your dream, change yourself into a better person, whatever it is, I guarantee you, if you are afraid of looking foolish, you are closing opportunities to yourself. So that'll do it for this journal of quarters. A little bit more philosophical, I think, but I think it's real interesting sometimes when I get those talks about like, okay, how did I figure that out? And it just kind of like comes back in like a really nice way. And it's just a really clean, I think, like, oh, I remember like what wisdom I gained from that, or what I learned about that. Send me all your songs about pigeons with dirty rap words in them. Send me all your beats that you made, in the Shakey's kitchen with like spoons and salt shakers and stuff. Man, if I could figure out how to play and sing when I had terrible singing ability, terrible playing ability, and at least do it to an extent where like, chicks aren't running away from me. And you can do anything else. You can do anything that anyone else has done, for certain. Clean, simple and clean. When you walk away.